the discounted season ticket is over. How have the crowds reacted? Join us as we take a complete tour around the park, every land and every attraction. Indiana Jones, Smugglers Run, Space Mountain, and more. This is our State of Disneyland report. This is Fresh Baked. That's the Disneyland Railroad still under scrim and scaffold. Are getting used to that sight, but I know it's for a good cause and she'll be good as new and ready for the 70th. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to our latest State of Disneyland report. We're in the park on a Monday. It's about 11:48 a.m. and a delightful 78 degrees. As always, we're looking forward to seeing how this day plays out. I really enjoy being able to bring these state of reports to you, and I expect we're going to have a very interesting day. I've been in the park for a while already, shooting a rope drop video this morning. A very interesting rope drop video, as it turned out. It turned into a fun exercise in what to do when your opening attraction doesn't actually open, which was the case this morning with Space Mountain. Stay tuned for that, but for now, let's get a vibe check from Main Street. As I mentioned, it was 11:42 when we did that intro. It's 11:48 now. I wanted to do this a little bit earlier because something that I've noticed in the parks now for a little while is that it's busier in the morning. I've said before when I was doing these State of Disneyland reports where I was here in the morning doing construction and the queues were everywhere. There were super long standby queues, and by the time we got around to doing our State of Disneyland report later that afternoon, they weren't near as bad. So I think there's a trend happening, or still ongoing, has been for a little while, that the parks are busier in the morning. People are trying to maximize their time. They're getting here earlier than they used to, but they're also leaving earlier. The park starts to slow down as you get closer to the evenings, especially on these weekdays, like this Monday afternoon. By the time 5 or 6 o'clock hits, the parks start to die down a little bit. So I want to get a sense of what's happening here in these queues a little bit, like an hour earlier than I'm accustomed to. As you can see on the clock right there, it is about 10 minutes to noon. Feels busy right here, right? It feels kind of dense, but I was actually expecting it to be even perhaps a little bit more crowded as we were taking that trip down Main Street. That wasn't too bad. That was kind of standard, kind of normal for a Disneyland Monday. Nothing out of the ordinary here. Yeah, I feel like our last vibe check down Main Street was a little bit more hectic. And that, Fresh Baked, is our cue to go check out the reservation calendar. I'm going to be really interested to see how this looks. I feel like things might be a little bit better than they were before. And we'll start, as is our custom, looking at the single day ticket calendar. We're here at the end of the month. There's just one day left in the month, so we won't even bother looking at September, which is available, obviously. But looking at the October calendar for the single day ticket calendar, and that has been the case for the past forever, it seems like. Every day is wide open. The single day ticket calendar is wide open, no difficulties. Just showing up. The family from Colorado has no fear of being locked out of the park today, so that's good. So we'll take a look at the Magic Key calendar. And as I mentioned, there is just the one day left in the month, but I did want to look at that just the same because it is showing you actually today you can make a reservation as a Magic Key holder today, which is rare, especially considering what we've been seeing the past couple of reports on these State of Disney reports. Last 2 weeks ago, it was very difficult to get a reservation in the near term, a little bit easier in the long term, but today is available, which is good. That's a good sign. So things have improved significantly. Well, actually, let's not say that quite yet because we haven't seen October. And that actually looks pretty good too. We're looking at the first week or the immediate week in Magic Key reviews is the one that I look at the most. And every day this week is available. Today, Monday's available, and then every day after that through all the way to next Friday, and even this Friday is available, although that's just the one park, that's Disneyland, which suggests that that's probably close to, or selling out. That's probably just a flip of a cancellation, but still, that's pretty great. And that, by the way, that Friday is because, and you see those Fridays, the 11th, 18th, and the 25th, all booked out because Enchant Keys are eligible for those Fridays, but they're not. Enchant Keys, if we look at, let's see, yeah, there's the Enchant Key calendar. They're eligible for those Fridays, but they're blocked on Saturday and Sunday, which greatly improves Inspire Keys' ability to get a reservation for that weekend, which makes this calendar look that much better. So that's why you're able to see reservations available for the 6th and the 13th, but the Fridays are booked out. But the Saturdays are available. You can make a reservation for any upcoming Saturday. Considering where we are in the season here, right in the middle of the Halloween season, peak crowds are starting to elevate at this point. I'm kind of surprised it's not anywhere near as dire as what we saw 2 weeks ago when half the calendar was obliterated. I think, what did I say, there was 2 dates available out of 10 or 15 when we were doing this last. So things have improved significantly on that. So I'm not allowed to complain or anything, although I do wish I didn't have to make a reservation just the same, but I mean, here we are. So I'm hoping that that's not, a random occurrence. I'm hoping that that's Disney trying to be a little bit more flexible with the calendar, although it doesn't explain why they were, why the calendar was such a disaster just 2 weeks ago, and today it's not so bad. That's avert your eyes, don't look at that. There's a lot of things happening right now in the park. There's a lot of construction and refurb projects, but just understand that they're trying to get this park ready for the 70th. They want this place to be as good as possible for the 70th anniversary, which is a big deal. If you were here for the 60th, that was a big deal, and this one is a bigger deal. If you ask me, I feel like the 70th is a bigger deal than the 60th. Unfortunately, it's not likely that the spectacle of what we're going to get here at Disneyland. I'm not expecting a lot of spectacle during the 60th. Man, we got Paint the Night. We had the all-nighter. So many. The new fireworks show. It was the 60th was perhaps my greatest memory. Like, it was the greatest time, the most positive and Disneyland loving I think I ever felt was during that 60th anniversary. I hope they can find a way to recapture that, because the 100th, it was kind of all right. It wasn't that big deal. I mean, I thought it was great at first, but the vibe certainly wore off quickly. But never mind that. Let's get into our report proper. We've arrived at Adventureland. Yeah, not bad at all, right? Hearing that Tiki Room announcement, when you time it right, it's a lot like hearing the Dapper Dans in the background. It makes you feel like you're at Disneyland, even though you're not going to stop and enjoy the Tiki Room. We're not going to go in there and do that, but just hearing that, hearing the pre-show happening over there is quite magical, quite Disney. And that's the news here in in Adventureland, is that the Jungle Cruise is closed. Hi guys, how are you? Closed now for just a few more days. It's going to reopen, I think, on the 3rd. So this week, at some point, it won't be finished. They're not going to have finished the job. They'll still be working on it. It'll be open, but they're still going to be working on that tiger scene, getting that whole the temple scene, the old decrepit temple, getting that restored back to show standard. We're going to check next on Indiana Jones, and I'm just kind of surprised. Like I said, I set the expectation thinking it was going to be really, really crowded in here, but so far it hasn't reached that level. And check out Indiana Jones. Kind of surprised to see a 30-minute standby queue. Look at that. Now, this looks scary, seeing the back of the queue stick out like this. That's not a good sign. And if you follow our newsletter or if you've seen us on Patreon, we'll talk about what that means. But it's not as bad as it looks, because if we come around the corner... Hi, guys. Hi.
We've seen it before.
Thank you, thank you. That's why it's not as bad as it looks, because they haven't even come out here into the exterior queue. They haven't extended the queue, so it's certainly not anywhere near as bad as it looks as you approach. This is why you always want to kind of come back here and take a peek. But you can see the cast member was just then asking guests to come on in. Guys, if you ever see this, let me just say, if you ever see this, just go ahead and get in the queue. Handle it. I know it said 30 minutes. It's not even going to be that. I got in a queue very similar to this when we rope dropped this morning at about, it was just shy of 10 a.m. It was like 9:45, I think. And it was 15 minutes from right where those guys are to our vehicle, 15 minutes. So that's pretty great. Now that's the good news. The part that I'm having a hard time reconciling is why? Why is it like that at noon? It's literally, well, 11:58 right now. That shouldn't be the case. By this time, usually by 10:30 or so, this thing should be running at near full capacity. As a matter of fact, I was here earlier this morning and it was. The queue was completely full out here. Hopefully I've got that footage for you. The back of the queue was over there at the bottles. So it's really interesting how elastic this specific queue can be. Indiana Jones is very scary. Indiana Jones can be a very scary attraction, but there are lots of opportunities, hey guys, throughout the day for you to find a queue like this. This is not out of the ordinary. Just got to come back here and look. Pleasant start to our day so far, wouldn't you say? Rather enjoyable. Hey. Okay, so things got a little less enjoyable because Pirates, I was hoping maybe they wouldn't be here, but the queue up here on Pirates is up here on the bridge. You know what I feel like? Guys, let's mix things up a bit. And I did all that just so I could get to this perch out here and do some aerial reconnaissance today for the Pirates queue. We noted that the queue is up here on the bridge. It looks like they're already getting ready to shorten it. You've got cast members out there waiting for guests to finish making their way through, and they're probably going to shorten that. So Pirates is doing very well. You can see how briskly the queue is moving here. This is a great sign, seeing all those guests moving through the queue as briskly as they are, not just here, but also on the standby side over there on the far end towards Royal Street Veranda. Lightning Lane looks pretty short. That's pretty short for Lightning Lane. So this is I would say this is probably not more than 20-25 minutes, if not posted in real time. Let's go find out. Look at that. Yeah, that's it. They've shortened the queue already. We're getting ready to rope that off. Yeah, they're going to close off that whole back half of the bridge queue back there. But they're calling it 35 out here, which is 100% not correct. 100% that's not 35 minutes. That's a go situation for me right there, seeing this queue as we have. I'll go ahead and confirm, but I know it's not going to be the case. Yeah, the queue is not out here in the extended portion across the street and into Tiana's Palace. I haven't done any formal analysis on this, but I'm going to say bridge is 5 minutes. The path down to the front entrance here, or the threshold there, is 3 minutes. 12 minutes on the interior where you do all the switchbacks in there. So what is that? 12, 15, 20 minutes, and then 3 or 4 minutes, and maybe 5 minutes inside. So that's probably 25 minutes total. And that's after you factor in Lightning Lane. That's including whatever Lightning Lane influence there is. Which, by the way, I've been watching obviously for a long time now, ever since they put this attraction on Lightning Lane, just to see what the effects are. And it hasn't been that bad actually. It hasn't been good, It's not like it's like it was. It certainly affected it in a negative way, but it hasn't been the disaster that I thought it could be. You know, it's still just 20-25 minutes. It still moves very briskly, and that's because it's a testament to the fact that Pirates is just the damn most efficient attraction method that you can have, you know, for an attraction, both here and at Small World. In spite of, you know, the Lightning Lane being Small World 2, it's just so good, it's so efficient that it can process all these guests even if there's a bunch of Lightning Lanes. So it hasn't been that bad, but I do still hope that Lightning Lane goes away as soon as they open things up over here at Haunted Mansion. Speaking of which, we will head that direction. Let me go ahead and finish that thought, by the way, as we make our way to Haunted Mansion. For those who may need a refresher on why Pirates is on Lightning Lane, it's because Haunted Mansion was closed for a while and is still not on Lightning Lane. Disney felt that guests were losing a Lightning Lane eligible attraction when the Haunted Mansion closed, and it's still not doing it now. It's on virtual queue. So they said, you know, we're gonna make that up to you by turning Pirates into a Lightning Lane. Therefore, the inference is that Pirates is going to be temporary, a Lightning Lane, and that when Haunted Mansion gets its Lightning Lane back, they'll restore Pirates to standby only. I'm hoping that that's the case. I mean, I don't really feel like putting Pirates on Lightning Lane is a big draw for guests. It is for Haunted Mansion because that can get hairy sometimes. But we'll see. When Haunted Mansion gets its queue back, it'll lose virtual queue, and then they can put Lightning Lane back on Haunted Mansion. So we won't see standby here again. While we're on that topic here, we won't see standby here again at the Haunted Mansion until they finish what's going on here with the queue, which I'm still thinking is at least a month away, maybe more. Well, probably 2 months, yeah. And then even then, they still got to restore Lightning Lane here before they can take it back off of Pirates. For now, we are still stuck with virtual queue, but it makes sense because they have no place to put a standby queue out here. There is no standby queue really of consequence to put them in. And it's still taking about 6 hours for guests to get called. I booked a virtual queue this morning at 9 a.m. for Haunted Mansion. Hi guys, good morning, or good afternoon now at this point. Hey, how are you? I booked this one. I got group 121. Got that just after 9 a.m. And at the time they were on group 20, and they're only on 63 to 80 now. So I'm barely halfway there, and it's been three hours now. So I'm looking at 6 hours probably to see I may not even be I may be done with this report by the time that happens, but we'll see. But they're cranking out guests here at Haunted Mansion Holiday. Sometimes you just have to stop and enjoy New Orleans Square. You hear the call, you hear the siren call, and you just got to enjoy it. Let's head next to Critter Country. Looks like the gift shop's coming along. Pretty soon we'll be seeing some themed facades there for the front of that building. I don't know if you guys caught our last construction report, but just on the other side of that wall right there, right about where that tree is, there are 2 frogs on a log, which is great. I'm very excited. We've got frogs. What's going on over here real quick? Water. Oh, look at that. This is becoming an everyday occurrence. Water in the flume and logs in the flume. It's happening. Still waiting for them to reopen Secret Path, but it will happen.
discount with GetAway.
Oh, you bet. Thank you.
Oh,
Oop.
it's you.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
How are you? All right. Critter Country welcomes us. Soon to be Bayou Country. They're going to call it Critter Country until everything is done and ready. But this is going to be Bayou Country. You know, I never really check the queue here at Winnie the Pooh, do I? But there's no queue that I'm ever afraid of. There's no reason to do any kind of analysis here. Even this, you know, out here, that's still just, it says 25, but it's not. It's not. This queue moves like butter. Always, no matter how long it looks. Even when it's out here, they're ready for more guests out here. Even when it's out there, it still moves like butter. I mean, it takes longer than it would if it weren't, but it's still, it's the quintessential it goes quick though. Lots happening back here though. Feels like a lot of energy, a lot of happiness here in the backside of Critter Country. Oh, that's new. I didn't get the report on this, so I'm not sure if it was the case or not. So I guess I'll say it here in this state of report. But there's a scrim and scaffold out in front of this part of what was Pooh Corner. So it looks like they're getting ready to install the facade out here for Lewis's Critter Club. That's a good sign. The drama this week on my social feed was that when they took down the scrim and scaffold here at Pooh Corner, it revealed a new sign up here. That's part of what they were doing, was putting in the new sign. Looks like they took down some of the other themed elements, the jars of honey, etc. But it's now Bayou Country, and people were super upset about how generic that sign looked and how it was a downgrade and it lacked creativity. It lacked whatever, saying that's Disneyland today, and that Disney was lacking in creativity. But I'm not sure if folks realize, but that's essentially the same sign that was there before. The old Critter Country sign looked almost exactly like that. There was a little bit difference in the font. I think the font is a little bit different, but it's almost identical to the sign that's there now. And it's one of those things where I just feel like people are just in a rush to hate a thing or to judge it. And it's kind of like what we were talking about with Splash Mountain and its evolution into Tiana's Bayou Adventure. There's a lot to love. There's a lot to love about what's happening or what's going to happen at Tiana's. And that was something that I said at the very beginning when they first announced this and the closure of Splash. And I said, well, why can't it be better? What if it's as good or better? That doesn't, just the fact that they're taking one down doesn't mean they're going to destroy it and make it worse. There's lots of opportunity, for them to do something that's even better. By the way, I'll remind folks again, while we're back here, if you didn't catch our construction report, they put in 3 more trees back here. So the trees that were taken have been replenished here at Critter Country. And look, it's Winnie the Pooh. How wonderful. And we've got a wild Tigger back here as well. I'm hoping, what do you think the odds are that we get wild country bears back here?
Can't be late for lunch with Christopher Robin.
I feel like there's at least a reasonable chance for that happening. I mean, you're going to go ahead and re-theme Hungry Bear to country bears? There should be some country bears out here. Looks like we're a little early to enjoy some Davy Crockett canoes, but not too early to enjoy some Mark Twain. Head down the path here for a little bit. By the way, I did, as promised, go on the Davy Crockett canoes on my last acoustic report. Tours departing daily. It's our sister channel. We do just walking around the park and having a good time, going on rides and stuff. Latest upload there. You can find us doing that. The Davy Crockett canoes. Took a trip around the river. Plus, what did we else to do? The Matterhorn, teacups. We had a great day. It was a great day. So check that out if you guys have a minute. Well, I took a break from filming to come over here to the Rivers of America and wait for the Mark Twain to show up, just so I could invite you guys to join our friendship, our alliance with Getaway Today. They are our preferred travel partner, and if you are looking to book a trip to Disneyland or any theme park, or Universal Studios or Alani or something like that, please do consider using Getaway Today. They are friends of ours, friends of the show. We are fans of them and they are fans of us, and we just love them. They are so good at their jobs, so knowledgeable, and they've got everything covered for you, and you're going to get a pretty good rate. We love Getaway Today, and we would be very much appreciated if you were to give them a call if you're planning a trip to Disneyland, Disney World, or anything of that nature, and let them take care of you, because they most definitely will. If you want to get that in your future, call Getaway Today. I hope you guys enjoy your trip. I was gonna say, that sounds like new music, but that's not the onboard music for the Mark Twain. I'm pretty sure that's the literal Straw Hatters on board right now. Let's see. Are they singing also? Yeah, there they are. In that video, I was just talking about tours departing daily. We went back there to Fantasyland, and we caught the Pearly Band, actually. And I saw the Pearly Band doing choreography, like they're the Disneyland band. Pearly Band doing choreography, and now we've got the Straw Hatters singing. It reminds me, many, many years ago, when the Disneyland band was the band that it was before what we have now. All the old guys, out there. But they started incorporating choreography into their routine, and then a couple months later they were gone, and they replaced them with the new Disneyland band. It's something. Are they trying to mix something up with live entertainment with the Pearly Band and the Straw Hatters? Are they trying to find a new thing? I don't know. I'll pay attention to that. Meanwhile, Section 4 is empty. Good start for Rise of the Resistance. I feel like how long have we been at this? I feel like it's normally we get to this point in the day a little quicker, this point in our report. Section 4 is empty. Section 3 is empty. That's good. But there's guests in Section 2 and in Section 1 also. So about half full out here in the exterior queue. Not bad considering it is now 12:49 in the afternoon on what I should have thought, or what I would have thought would be a busy day, but it hasn't yet materialized. Let's see what the posted wait time says. It says nothing. It's closed. So there you go. That explains why the crowd is, or the queue may not be any deeper than it was, because they have closed Rise of the Resistance. What a surprise. It was closed earlier this morning too. Let me recap, by the way, if you haven't checked out our rope drop video, or if I haven't watched it yet, stay tuned. Or if I haven't published it. We had a diabolical morning at various points in the morning between the hours of 8 and 10 a.m. Space Mountain, Matterhorn, Indiana Jones. Is that it? Rise of the Resistance and Buzz Lightyear were all closed. And 3 of those were attractions I was trying to do. That's part of my normal routine in the morning. Space, Matterhorn, and Indiana Jones. So it was quite a morning, quite a very difficult morning, but it still wound up being a very, very fun morning and a very fun video, because it's going to give you some sort of idea of how I reacted to the closure of Space Mountain, because it didn't open. Space Mountain didn't open at rope drop, and how that, how do we overcome that? How do we overcome, such a huge letdown, still get on with our day, and still have a pretty good day? Better than pretty good. It was great, actually. It was great. With that said, we're here at the marketplace. Let's go to Ronto Roasters, get ourselves Tatooine Sunset, and check out that tip board. And as suspected, I got buzzed just as we were arriving. Let's see. One of those is mine, probably that one on the left right there.
You're welcome. Can I get your number?
9720.
For David?
Yep.
There we go.
Thank you.
Travel.
Thank you. Cheers, Fresh Bake. That's good stuff. Now let's go look at that tip board. Okay, let's get it on. Alice in Wonderland. 25 minutes, that's not bad at all. Astro Orbiter, 35. That's not so great. That's not so great. Although it's very difficult to actually find a 35-minute wait at Astro, so I bet by the time we get there, that won't be the case. Autopia is 10 minutes, obviously not bad at all. Return time in just about 10 minutes. Big Thunder's at 35. That's pretty good for 1 o'clock in the afternoon with a return time in an hour and 20 minutes. Buzz Lightyear 35, fair. 2:15 return time, hour and 15 minutes. Casey Jr. is 5. That's always great. That's probably 2 trains. Chip, gosh, Gadgets is 15 minutes. Wow. Even on a slow day, usually Gadgets a little bit busier than that. Dumbo 25. We found that this morning at about 10 a.m. We found Dumbo using the entirety of the second half of the queue. Hopefully I've got video of that showing you right now. We found that at 10 a.m. Probably not the case now. So that does support my earlier observation that I was making when I started this show about how it seems like the parks find these really super busy periods much earlier in the day at like 10 a.m. than I'm used to seeing. It will have been a completely full queue back then, but by the time we get there, probably not. Finding Nemo with 30 minutes, that's pretty good actually for Nemo. There's my, where are they? Let's see. Get details. We're on group 121. They're still on 80 to 100, so I've still got 20 to go. I think I measured that at 3.5 minutes per group, so that's still 60 minutes. So we could possibly be able to ride Haunted Mansion before the end of the day today. Indiana Jones has now jumped to 50. Remember we saw that earlier. It was a virtual walk-on at noon, an hour later, and it is at 50 minutes with a return time at 6 hours. That's a little bit, more like what we're seeing or used to seeing. I keep hitting these. I keep hitting the standby button. Tea Party 10 minutes. Winnie the Pooh 25. Nope. Matterhorn. Wow, 40 minutes. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. We'll talk about that in a minute, maybe when we get to Matterhorn. But I can now tell you if that's accurate or not when we get there, with pretty good authority. Runaway Railway 25. Not bad. Not bad at all with a return time in 2.5 hours. I've not seen anything out of line except for just now. Except for just now when we get to Millennium Falcon Smugglers Run that says 60. How is that the busiest attraction in the park right now? Busier even than Rise, but well, probably. That's closed though. But I don't feel like Rise was at 65 minutes when we walked by there. Toads 25. Peter Pan 35. That's not bad actually. When I saw it again this morning, it was super, super packed. Pinocchio's 15, standard. Pirates 35, standard. Roger Rabbit 45, standard. Return time in 2 hours. What's that return time for Pirates? 2 hours. Okay. Curious to see what happens at Roger Rabbit. I feel like we might get a break there today for some reason. Snow White 25. Space Mountain at a very reasonable 45 minutes. I had forgotten about that when we were talking about Smugglers Run being the busiest attraction, but so far it's still maintaining that status. 45 minutes for Space Mountain. Star Tours 20, and then Rise is still closed. Sorbet Land 15, and take care. All right, what do you want to bet? It's empty over here at Doc Ondar's. Oop, pardon?
I don't know.
Well, not empty at all. Quite busy, in fact. Well, my radar's off. People are interested in doing a little Star Wars shopping. I love to see it. It's terrific. A lot of guests out there looking at Star Wars or lightsabers and hilts, etc. Everybody's got one in their hands. Look at this. It's incredible. Get yourself a holocron. All right. That's making me happy right now. Hi guys, how are you? Oh, pardon. Now, let's go find out if Smugglers Run is in fact 65 minutes. I have a hard time believing that. I have a hard time believing that right now the most popular attraction at Disneyland is Millennium Falcon. I can only wish that I was in selfie when I started laughing at that because, well, look, actually I don't think you can see it. That says 20 minutes. Just maybe 5 or 10 minutes ago, the queue was at 65 minutes and it is at 20. It went from 65 to 20. You just never can tell. This is why it's always okay to say no. When you get to an attraction, it's okay to say, no, I don't want to do that. There's all kinds of stuff to do here within, just a few minutes walk. It's a very dense park. It's very compact, so it's not like you have a long way to go. You don't have to say, well, we're here. We might as well hit that 65-minute queue. You can just wait a little bit. You can wait a little bit, and it'll probably change. Because guests react. It's a constant, organic flow of ebbs and flows, ups and downs. People see 65 minutes, they're like, no, thank you. I don't want to do that right now, from a distance. So people stop getting in the queue and then they adjust it. I would be willing to bet actually that the time you get in that queue was when it said 65. It might already be too late. It says 20 now. This could be a call to action for people to get here now, to come to arrive. But if if we had jumped in that 65-minute queue while we saw it, perhaps it would have been a different scenario. But we're gonna go see how far back this queue goes, how far we can get based on that 20-minute wait time. Dead in here. It feels dead. I don't feel any energy. I can't see the crowd yet. I can't see the back of the queue, but it feels like it's empty. There's no ambient noise of people talking. It's just these 8 guests right there. And yeah, there you go. No lightning lane either. There's nobody here right now. This seems almost impossible to believe that it could have been 65 minutes just 10 minutes ago, and now we have a virtually empty queue.
Initiating full power-up sequence! Again, if this doesn't explode, I'll consider us lucky. Proceed!
Did we find the back? We did. There's the back right there. I didn't say it, but in my mind I was thinking, if we can take this all the way to the Hondo room, I might actually just go ahead and ride. But that right there, that little stretch, I've seen it back there before, where the whole queue was empty except for that stretch, and it was still an hour. But that was because the lightning lane queue that we just passed a minute ago was completely full. I mean, the densest lightning lane queue I've ever seen in my life. But that's not the case today. Well, they are sort of trickling in here. That's lightning lane right there. All this, the entirety of that little ramp there, all the way down there, and this ramp here, down to the bottom, was completely full. But yeah, guests are coming in. Standby it's starting to draw a crowd. You see a lot of people coming in behind me. Back of the queue is now at that arch right there where we were able to make a little bit of a left turn. And probably within not too long, if nothing happens with the guests getting into the Hondo room, if nothing happens, that'll slowly grow out to this direction. If the people keep streaming in like they are, 20 minutes is a call to action. 20 minutes says come join us at Millennium Falcon Smugglers Run. I actually have been parked here for about 2 or 3 minutes, and it happened quicker than I thought. Guests are still flowing in. Maybe even at a faster rate than what we saw before. And you can see the back of the queue now in the left of the frame. It's down the first ramp. And I would imagine if I stayed here for another couple minutes, okay, looks like they just let a few guests in. They've moved up a little bit. But if I just stay here for a couple more minutes, I bet it starts to come around the corner. Hi. All right, that's what I'm doing right now. Looks like the traffic has stopped. Let's see what happened. Did they change the time? Traffic has stopped. I'm not seeing quite as many guests coming up the ramp as I did a minute ago. The back of the queue has reached the end here still. It hasn't come around the corner yet. It did for a brief second. Let's check the tip board.
Let's run a full diagnostic on that.
Still showing 20 minutes on the tip board. We've been here now for, it's 1:30. We've been here for 4 minutes. It feels like it's been forever. It's been 4 minutes. Here comes another batch. By the way, you know what I want to do? Hi, how are you guys? I'm going to take a quick peek right now.
Yeah.
See how Lightning Lane
What is
is.
it?
Still just a smattering of guests joining Lightning Lane. I don't see the queue backing up there at all. But stand by. Okay, so in the 4 minutes since we were at the top of the ramp, making the left turn, looking at the window to the Millennium Falcon. 4 minutes later, now 5 minutes later, it has in fact reached the bottom ramp here, and now a whole bunch more guests are just coming in. This is incredible. Watching this queue just fill up just like that. So if you're here for a 20-minute wait, you're too late. It's not to say you're going to get an hour, although it could. If Lightning Lane showed up, you could be waiting an hour in that queue right now. But it's still, but you're not going to get 20. You're going to get 35 or 40 most likely. And even more people are coming in now. I'm having to thread my way through a lot of guests right now. Normally, this is the point in the show where I talk about something current event like, or a hot topic for me at the moment. But it's interesting, as throughout this whole week, I felt like things are just kind of mellow with the Disney company and with Disneyland. Things are just kind of standard and mellow. They've settled into a nice, comfortable zone here at Disneyland, and what's even more interesting is that there was a time when there was a lot of demand for Universal and Knott's coverage, and people were watching our shows, and I've noticed recently that we're getting about half the demand that we used to. And I think part of that reason is that people are pretty satisfied with Disneyland right now. I know that there is a vocal percentage, I don't want to say minority, but there's a vocal percentage out there who still are, upset with Disney and their operations and things like that. But as far as at least our fans go, fans of this show, people are pretty happy. In spite of the fact that, there's a lot of, repairs and things like that going on, the Haunted Mansion and Splash Mountain, but those things are right around the We are less than a month away from cast previews for Tiana's Bayou Adventure. And I feel like they're going to be able to accelerate things at Haunted Mansion after that point. And that'll be done. We're not far away from this place being fully operational. Everything's going well. You know, things are operating at a fairly good capacity here. It's busy, but not terribly so. You know, it's nice. It's good. Disneyland has settled into a very nice, comfortable place, and there's not quite the, you know, demand for other parks. People, you know, Universal and Knott's are like, whatever. And it's funny because one thing I've noticed more so, and I just watched, I have a friend, Chris. Hi guys. Hi. My friend Chris, LMG Vids, went to Knott's Berry Farm today. I was watching his social today, and he was talking about how Knott's is not in good shape, man. Knott's, what he thought was, you know, like themed vintage wood, etc., was not. It was actual termite damage and dry rot. You know, the park was actually in very bad shape. They're making Disney look good. So guys, that's what I'm saying. And that goes towards the last video I did from Knott's as well, the last update, the State of Knott's report. They're doing a really good job, Knott's is, of making Disney look good. We're in Benson. Holy heck. There goes Casey Jr. number 2 right there. So they are running 2 trains here at Casey Jr., so it is definitely a brief wait. How brief? Well, let's go take a look. You know what? I'll go around this way. You know what? I'll go around this way. Might as well check out Dumbo while we're here. I was expecting not to find the queue here, but there it is. It's not too bad though. They're not using all of it. They're using about 3/4 of the queue back here for Dumbo. So that could be the 25 or 35 minute wait that was posted. This is not ideal, but it's not too terrible either. When I was here this morning at 10 a.m., all of this was full of KC guests, but that was also when they were running just one train. In the morning, before, I want to say like 11 a.m., KC runs just one train. But, and then in the afternoon, they bring out a second train. We're getting into this queue at 1:42. A train just took off. Here comes another one. I'm going to say, based on where we are now, they're going to fill this one up. They got way more. They got to put more people in this pen right now. That's going to be our train. In, let's see, that's going to go around. I'm going to say it about 8 minutes. I'm going to say 8 minutes at 1:50. We will be in that exact train. That's the next train to come into station. We're at 1 minute and 35 seconds so far. That'll be in station in about 2 more minutes, and they're going to get all these guests and probably, oh gosh, I don't know, maybe to this little family right here, and then this queue right here will probably be in the next train after that, which I believe is KC number 7. I'm not sure if they have their own numbers, but I know this train has a number of 7. I have to look at that and maybe see if there's another number on the other KC train. Well, I was just off. That's the back of the queue right there. This is going to be the next group. So I was one family off on my estimate, I think. 1:45, and 3 minutes later, here comes KC. That one doesn't even have a number. Do they have? No, 9. That said 9. So KC 9 is in the station. There goes 7. 1:47, just shy of 6 minutes later. Here comes number 7 into the station. Now the question is, do I get a bench? The way that this crowd is arranged right now, I feel like the odds of me getting a bench are kind of slim. did it. Even faster than I thought. 1:49 and 7 minutes later, we saved a minute. That's awesome. Never pass up Casey Jr. Never pass up Casey Jr. when there's 2 trains running. It's going to cost you a total of 10 minutes on the outside of your day. And look at, just wait and see how much magic we get to enjoy right now. How much Disneyland joy. And it just costs 10 minutes. There goes number 9. Like clockwork. Amazing how efficient these things are. That's the exact scenario I found when I was getting on my train. Like, this train was slowing down at that spot as the other train was leaving. Same thing just happened again. They're so precise. 4 minutes. 4 minutes launch to launch. That's what I call it. From the time the train gets launches, gets around, unloads, loads, and then launches again. 4 minutes. Outstanding. And now I feel refreshed and rejuvenated and ready to continue our Fantasyland study. Hey, how are you?
Hey, what's going on, man?
Not much, thank you. Pinocchio, back of the queue right around here. That's not too bad. That's 20 minutes, if that, maybe 15. Fascinating. Guys, look at Peter Pan. We're gonna look at that first rather than Snow White, because I can see, look at the empty chains, you guys. See this? This is gonna be a real interesting session when I start doing recon on Peter Pan and figuring out how long everything, how long it really takes, because it's almost as if like every switchback is the possibility for them to extend into and out of. But this is one of the last sections they fill up. This outside chain right here, this outside switchback. And then, although it's open, it's not full. The little nook back here next to Merlin's Marvelous Miscellany. These are one of the last 2 areas that fill up in the queue. And so I would like measure this section, then that section over there, the covered little gazebo right here, the switchbacks back there, the ones that are going. It's going to be complicated. But suffice it to say, this is much less crowded. The whole land is really, but this is much less crowded than I found it at 10 a.m. this morning. It's saying 40, but it's not. That's not a 40-minute queue. If I were to hazard a guess, I would say 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, maybe 30 minutes. Maybe 30 minutes. And you can do that on an attraction like that. You can really get precise. You can do the math, which I'll eventually get to. But you can do that because there's no lightning lane, so it's very consistent. You can just set your clock to it. Snow White, they're showing 20, but it's not that either. Gosh, they're not using any of the queue over here. Nothing out here, obviously. So the guests are entering at about the book where the apple was. So you just got the dungeon, right? That's about 3 minutes in the dungeon, and maybe 3 or 4 minutes per switchback there, so maybe 12, 15 minutes total. Breaking it down for you right now, Fresh Baked, breaking it down. This is the kind of conversations that we're having right now that you could only get on Fresh Baked. Nobody else is willing to do this kind of study. Nobody else is willing to put in the kind of time that we do to figure this stuff out. No, people just want to talk about churros and how crowded it is. Hi guys, I'm gonna take you well beyond that. I'm gonna take you well beyond that. Toads looks great. It's actually probably the busiest of all the queues here at Fantasyland right now, at least relatively speaking, relative to what you normally would find Toads. That's a full queue for Toads. Peter Pan was not full. Snow White was not full. Pinocchio was a little full. Obviously, Casey wasn't. Dumbo is full-ish, but Toad's right there. Hey guys, Toads that's doing great for Toad. Hi. Toads is doing great. That says 20. Probably is. Mad Tea Party is virtually empty. Practically empty. Look at that. These guests walking in right now are going to be on the next batch of teacups. These teacups are going to launch. These guys that are getting in the queue right now will be on the next teacup. So that's 5 minutes. Our teacups is about a 5-minute launch to launch. Alice looks good. That's actually busier than usual because I think we're going to go around the corner. We saw this at 35 on the tip board. Was it 35 or 25? I can't remember now. But it says 25, which is about right. Oh, it's not too bad. It's just at the mushroom. Hi. That's not bad at all. Remember 2 weeks ago? Never in my life, I said. But not today. Oh, look at that. Here comes the monorail. There he comes. Whew, thank you. Yeah, delightful, pleasant, lovely. I could do this all day. I am the Captain America of Fantasyland. Easy peasy. This has been a really lovely day. I'm trying to think, and I don't think we have, between walking around the park today and looking at the tip board, I have not come across a single no thank you scenario. Relatively speaking, obviously, and we did see that 65 on Smugglers Run, but that turned into nothing, 20 minutes. But this has been a delight. This has just been, everything has just been agreeable. Storybookland, that's not bad. It's full for Storybookland though, I'll say that. But again, 2 weeks ago, never in my life, I said. Just to give you a reference, I'm not sure how obvious it was in those shots, but the Storybookland was full there, coming around the corner, was outside the gate here. I'm not sure if there might have been a switchback out there as well, and then it ran all this way along, hi guys, along this path, along the wall, and it came all the way down, almost to the end here, right about here is where it stopped. Incredible. And by the way, that too was a Monday afternoon. So I thought maybe you could make an argument that it's a different time of week or something like that.
Fresh baked.
Hi guys. Hi. But we're here almost exactly at the same time of day. Maybe, like I said, maybe an hour earlier than we were 2 weeks ago. But I did that with the expectation that it would be busier this morning than it is now. But that has not been the case. It makes you wonder, like, what are the finer differences in crowd densities? Like, what could be the reasoning for that beyond just choice? Like, is there something else at play there? I just came to the same realization, or a similar realization just now, that I did 2 weeks ago when I was trying to, was it 2 weeks ago or a month ago when I was trying to figure out why it was less busy than I thought it was? Stay tuned. First though, we're gonna take a peek at Roger Rabbit. Says 50. I thought we might get a discount off that posted wait time. We saw 50 on the tip board before. Let's see how it looks in here. Still haven't found the back of the queue.
There's a rabbit. Don't take no business.
5 minutes, Miss Rabbit.
There it is, right there on the other side of the prop room. That's the back of the queue there. So probably not 50, although it could be if you have a situation with lightning lane, but that's probably closer to 35 or 40 at that point. But there is a little bit of lightning lane. There's maybe 10 guests in that queue. I don't know how permanent that situation will be. Oh my, it is bright out here. The sounds of Toontown. Runaway Railway. Oh wow. So the door says 30 minutes right here, posted 30. But the back of the queue is right here. So that's not 30 minutes, I don't think. I don't think that's 30. I mean, well, I should say it's not less than that anyway. I mean, they could get this through in 30 minutes. But it's probably at least that. As I exit, somebody was like, hey, 30's not bad at all, and I agree. But even still, even if you don't like the looks of that queue, as I often say, Runaway Railway is one of the few queues at Disneyland where like, you know what, if I want to ride, I'm going. That's it, I'm going. Because it's delightful. It's delightful in there, I love it. Between all the props and the music and just being with Mickey, you know, having that Mickey vibe, it's great. It's great. Oh, that's a no thank you for me right here. There you go, Minnie Mouse. Queue is going down the way towards the gate. Posted at 30 though. I feel like it always says 30, like every single time. Am I right? Mickey says 60. Gadgets says 30, and actually that's kind of a beefy queue there for Gadgets. That's why I was kind of surprised when I saw the wait time. I'm like, today's the kind of day that Gadgets would still be very busy, and we're seeing the back of the queue right here. I mean, it's probably still 30 minutes. Look how much fun they're having. God, that ride is damn near perfect for old folks like me. It's damn near perfect. I love Gadgets. I wish they could get the water fixed again. It was working. A little water feature between Chip and Dale there was working for like a minute, and it stopped working. In any case, that's probably you know, near to or close to 30. It's just very rare to find a break at Toontown. Very rare do you find a discount at Toontown, unless you get here really early in the morning. By the way, I would suggest that for those families that get Lightning Lane for the whole family, maybe think about doing Toontown in the morning. But don't use them here necessarily. You don't have to use them at Runaway Railway or at Roger Rabbit, and maybe use those later. But come here in the morning and enjoy this land when it's less intense like it is now. And don't worry about, you know, let your kids run around and play when it's not as crowded or hot. It might be worth it. By the way, if it wasn't clear, the reason why I say if you have Lightning Lane, because I'm a big believer in capitalizing, maximizing those first, you know, hour or two, the first 2 hours really of a rope drop morning. You should be doing the busiest attractions in the park between 8 and 10. But if you have Lightning Lane, you do the kind of the opposite. and you do attractions that are not on Lightning Lane, Fantasyland, or Toontown for that matter. Even though they have, these attractions here are Lightning Lane. You don't necessarily have to ride them. Use your standby. Maybe you ride again later on with your kids, but at least take advantage of that opportunity in the morning to play at Toontown in peace. Well, it's 2:14, and since we don't have to worry about reviewing Small World and how its queue is functioning, let me go ahead and share with you the epiphany that I just had. And I feel kind of silly for just now coming to that. I've been doing this, we've been shooting this now for going on 2.5 hours. And I've been talking about this whole time about how much slower it is than we've seen in the recent past, and I thought it might be a little bit busier, and why is that? And gosh, and no sooner did I ask that question, I'm like, of course, the discounted ticket is over. That ended, what, 4 days ago? The last day was the 26th. Today's the 30th. There's no discounted tickets in the park right now. Everybody's paying full price. So, but which is weird because Toontown is probably the busiest place we've seen. So that was the ticket that really was saving the kids with the $50 ticket, but there was a discounted adult ticket too. But yeah, you're not seeing everybody used up all their days. There's no discounted tickets available right now. It's full price for everybody. So, which when you think of it in those terms, actually, when you think about it in those terms, they're doing pretty good today. This is a win for Disney, in my opinion, because we're just incrementally slower than we were 2 weeks ago. But, they're making an extra, $50, $75 a guest on single day tickets during this time. So, yeah, I think this is a win for Disney. Look at that. This really moves me. I've walked this, into this entrance to the Matterhorn 1,000 times. I've looked at this entrance and the mountain right there 1,000 times, and it still is so inspiring. Just a masterful creation. Post the wait time says 50 minutes.
We don't have to sit in line.
Guests are entering over here at left. Gonna learn some new terms in the near future, Fresh Baked. If you subscribe to our newsletter or our Patreon, you're gonna learn some new terms. But they're entering at left. Tree lamp is empty. I'm really enjoying this. Yeah, it's not bad, actually. This is good. What you're seeing here is good as long as the queue isn't beyond, let's say, the first extended queue. Normally, I like it when you can make a right turn right here and head right back into the station, but that's not happening. They do have an extended queue out here. How far back is it? Extended 1? No, this is extended 1. These are new terms. This spot here is about extended 2. Oh my gosh, are there actually 4 zones? Is this extended 3 and that's extended 4? Oh my gosh. I may have to rewrite my newsletter. I haven't published it yet, but I did a whole analysis on how to measure the extended queue out here. Hopefully it's published by the time you see this. But I had extended 1 right here at that lamp, extended 2 at about this tree, and extended 3 all the way down there at the end where the bobsleds come down. So this is, that's 15 minutes right there. It's not 50. It's not 50. Matterhorn is a very difficult attraction to try to look at and say, yeah, that's a go, or it's not. Very difficult. But having said that, I used to think Indiana Jones was. Now it's super easy for me. Indiana Jones might be one of the easiest queues to make that assessment now. As for Lightning Lane, mostly empty. Just a smattering of guests there as well, just like we saw at Smugglers Run. People are not getting Lightning Lane today. It doesn't seem like it. So this is a nominal queue. It's not worse than 50. But again, it's interesting how I'm seeing everything through a different lens now that I've, remembered to remember about the discounted ticket. So I feel like this is actually pretty busy. If we were to go back to a time when the discounted ticket wasn't in play, when was the last time there wasn't a discounted ticket? Which I can't remember off the top of my head. But maybe if I can remember to find that out before we get this edited, and I'll go back and find what the Matterhorn looked like around this time before the discount ticket happened, and I'll bet you we're busier. I'll bet you it looks busier now than the footage from, let's say, I'm gonna guess what, since maybe May? I feel like May is about when that was, yeah? We'll head into Tomorrowland. Gosh, we're winding down already. This is great. Look at all that emptiness there in Nemo. That's awesome. That's great. You'll love to see that. If you choose Nemo, you'll love to see that. Nemo's one of those attractions where I have to question when people get into that super long queue. I'm like, gosh, really? I mean, I'm becoming a fan of Nemo myself. It's been a minute since I've been on, but there are queues on that I will say no to. But the longer I do these reports, the more I study Disneyland. There's fewer and fewer queues that I would say no, I don't want that, not at all. I find that in most cases things are not as bad as they look, almost always. Autopia is posted at 10 minutes, and look at that. Golly. Wow. I don't know if it's obvious because there's a lot of shade up there. The guests coming into Autopia are just turning right back around and going in. Wow. And not just Lightning Lane, that's what's happening now. Right now Lightning Lane is going in, but there's just that one little short queue of standby right there. And that is with running all 4 lanes. All 4 lanes are hot. Always try to remember to, if you can, try to hit Autopia when they're doing all 4 lanes, because it greatly affects the wait time. It might look dead, but if they're only running 2 lanes, then that cuts your the ride vehicles in half and will double your normal effective wait time for that size queue. I learned that lesson the hard way when I was trying to do a timed thing a while back. Hey, I decided to wait till the end of the night to ride Autopia, and I thought it would be super quick. I would just jump on and off, and that would be easy. But it didn't work out that way because they might have only been running 1 lane. Can you imagine? 25% capacity, 1 lane. Now it all makes sense. I'm feeling a very chill vibe here right now, and I was just reflecting back on the chill vibe that I was getting walking down Main Street when we opened the show, and how it kind of continued out throughout the day, and it's all coming together now. That says 55 minutes, by the way, for Space Mountain, but there's nobody here. Is this some kind of call to action to stay away? It's very strange to not see anybody, being the only person walking into Space Mountain right now. I almost feel like it's closed, like there are people posted telling people to go away, but it's open. It's so quiet up here. I'm just tripping right now. I haven't seen a guest get in this queue with me since we arrived. Well, now, okay, we see some guests coming out of the door there at least. That's something. I'm just here to put eyes on the back of the queue, as I say. I had a fan tell me on Twitter that he says that to himself now when going through attractions. I felt an enormous sense of pride. like, you know, they're going up so fast. Yeah, we found the back of the queue. Okay, this makes me feel better. I'm like, oh my gosh, what's happening here? But yeah, that's, you know, one of these days, this is going to be a difficult study right here, measuring all this. I mean, it is just basically 3 sections, back, middle, and this back section here, but that's a pretty healthy queue there. And it very well could be 55 minutes. And the fact that what I'm seeing here, see that guest over there sitting on the pillar, making himself comfortable. Bad form, by the way, first of all, but I'm not here to judge. But that's just a bad look. You don't want to see people resting in a queue. You really don't want to see people resting. That means they're not moving. That means they're not moving, their bodies are getting tired, and they're just posted. I hate seeing that. Keep an eye on that always. Oh my. I was gonna say, let's take a single rider and I have to look very far. They got a switchback, and that's just half of it. There's a whole other section down there on the other side as you get closer to the queue proper. Wow. Single rider is popular at Space Mountain. Let's see. I'm gonna call that 15 or 20 guests on each switch, so 35, 40 total. I would estimate maybe another 20 or 30 inside. So you're looking at 70 guests, and that's a lot, you guys, by the way, that's a lot for single rider. Compare that to, let's say, Matterhorn, which also was a very popular single rider. Matterhorn single rider is maybe 30 or 40 tops, 20, 30. Radiator Springs really is the only one that can kind of compete with that. That could be a couple hundred at times. God, why do I feel like I'm gonna have a flashback right now? Posted 25, that's what we found 2 weeks ago at Buzz Lightyear. And then all hell broke loose. But that's, wow. Gosh, okay, so it was, the queue was outside the chains last time. It's not this time, but still, that is dense. That was a very dense queue for Buzz Lightyear. Why do I note the density of a queue? Because you may have heard me talk about it in those terms before. You want to observe when a queue is dense as opposed to not dense, not compressed, because it's an indication that it's not going anywhere. It is human nature to want to keep moving in a queue. It's human nature to start closing in, and people start as they sit in the queue and don't go very far. They want to. They take any opportunity to kind of creep forward because they just want to feel like they're making some kind of progress. And what that winds up doing is compressing the queue and making it, you get a little closer and you're getting a little closer, and all of a sudden they're in your back pocket, right? So when the queue is moving briskly, you don't get that. There's people keep their distance. They keep their, they respect the bubble and everything. The whole bubble thing goes away when the queue starts to get slow and crap like this. So the fact that when they're not moving like that, it starts to compress. That's a sign that something's wrong, and maybe you want to take a second look. Maybe you want to try something else while you wait and see if that situation resolves itself. We'll cross the street, check in on Star Tours next. That says 30 minutes, but I don't think it is that. Look how loose. See how loose that queue is? See what I mean? That's a queue that's moving. It's loose. It's not compressed. They're back there in the room, but they're just, I think what happened is they probably just added this. It probably was just out here, and then they opened that door up because they're just in there and then they're coming right back out because they just added those switchbacks, so the guests are, expanding out. So it's possible that the queue increased in hi guys, hi. The queue did increase in size of recent. And remember I called it, by the way, I said, Astro Orbiter said 35 minutes on the tip board. I'm like, I want to see what a 35-minute queue looks like. but I probably won't be able to, and I was right. By the time I got here, it's down to 25 minutes, not even that. Maybe. Probably close, yeah, 25 minutes. Hi guys. That's probably 25 minutes, yeah. You know what, I don't think I'm gonna go through the hub today. I feel like enjoying the outer part of the hub today. Put eyes on Main Street for a second as we wind this show down before we head into Frontierland. Stick a bubble in the eye. Things look pretty tame out there. It looks busy. It looks busier than it is, I think. It looks a little denser than it is normally. I feel like people are waiting for something, but there isn't. It's just is the cavalcade even going off right now? That's 2:30. Yeah, the cavalcade should be happening. Maybe that's what they're waiting for. Not a parade. Not a parade. 2 Main Street vehicles and some characters walking around. Although it's still fun and cute. Not a parade. You hear that? Well, somebody's leaning into the horn. They were really leaning into it. They might have a guest pilot up there right now. Give that thing a tug. Well, Big Thunder just put an end to this segment. It's closed. Big Thunder's closed. No analysis possible here other than to say Big Thunder is closed. Well, if you were waiting for the discounted ticket period to end, for that season to be over before you came back to Disneyland, you're going to be rewarded with a very pleasant park. It's really nice here today, and I enjoyed this a lot. And but I still think it's busy still, and it's probably a better situation for Disney than they were in back in May. So I think everybody's winning. Everybody's winning as of this report, as of this State of Disneyland report. So good for all of you, and I have, you know, good for me too, because I had a great day today. I did 2 videos today. I shot a rope drop video this morning, took a beat, had some breakfast, and got right back up, you know, on the camera again for this State of Disneyland report. And I'm a pretty happy guy today. This has been a really wonderful day, and I'm happy. And I mentioned this in the construction report too. I had the same experience on that construction report. Really happy with the direction the park is going in right now, and the sort of the current state of things. So glad to be here, and I hope you guys are glad to be here with us as well. If you like this show and want to show your support, please do consider joining our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/freshbaked. You can also follow us on Instagram at _freshbaked, on Twitter at freshbakedisney, that's freshbaked.e, and on TikTok at freshbakedisney. Otherwise, thanks again for watching, everybody. We love you. Be safe out there. Be kind to one another. Fresh Baked. You guys want to go on a Haunted Mansion bonus trip to the Haunted Mansion? For those of you who made it this far, just got called for our virtual queue. We're going to go cash it in and then call it a day.
Fresh Baked David.
Hey, how are you, Logan? You got it?
Fantastic. Oh, let me sign back into my device. Perfect.
All right.
You're gonna go right over up those stairs.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, just go right in.
Interesting. Interesting.
To our Christmas delight, come witness a ghoulishly glorious sight. It's time for our holiday tale to begin. There's no turning back now. More rapid than vultures, the mansion was changed. All would soon come to the door.
And telling tea leaves that swirl with secrets yet to share.
All at once, and we walked strange.